It's Women's History Month, and I want to highlight a dope podcast called Our Ancestors Were Messy. And there's an episode covering the friendship between Zora Neale Hurston and Langston Hughes, their fallout over the play Mulebone, and what culminated in the tragic ending of a folklorist, documentarian, author, and anthropologist. Once one of the most successful writers of the Harlem Renaissance Movement, Zora Neale Hurston would die in poverty in the segregated wing of a welfare home. Her body would be buried in an unmarked grave. The woman who preserved Black life would fade away into obscurity until she was rediscovered by Alice Walker in 1973. But how did we get here? Zora Neale Hurston was born January 7, 1891, and according to the Zora Neale Hurston Trust, she attended Howard University from 1919 to 1924, where she majored in English and received her associate's degree in 1920. While at Howard, she joined a literary club sponsored by Alan Locke and Montgomery Gregory. She later attended Barnard College to study anthropology and was the first Black person to graduate from the university in 1928. Hurston's anthropological and ethnographic work included examining Black folklore and documenting cultural and religious traditions of places such as the U.S. South, Haiti, Jamaica, the Bahamas, and Honduras. Hurston's literary works include authoring several books, including her most known, Their Eyes Were Watching God. In 2018, among renewed interest in her work, Amistad published the book Barracoon, The Story of the Last Black Cargo, which is based on Zora's interviews of Cujo Lewis from 1927, who is presumed to be the last survival of the Middle Passage, specifically the Clotilda slave ship. But while Hurston was one of the most influential literary figures of the 20th century, she and many of the artists of the Harlem Renaissance were largely funded by white patrons, one of which was a white woman named Charlotte Osgood Mason. Mason, who referred to be called Godmother, funded Zora Neale Hurston, Langston Hughes, Alan Locke, and many others. However, Zora's relationship with both Langston and Charlotte deteriorated over conflicts of artistic control over the play Mulebone. Another major blow to Hurston's career was a big fat allegation. In 1948, Zora Neale Hurston was falsely accused of child molestation, a scandal that destroyed her reputation and career, making it impossible to find consistent work. When her literary patrons, grants, and book sales dried up, so did her career. It was later proven that Zora was in Honduras at the time of the alleged crime, but by then it was too late. She died in 1960, largely forgotten, and her funeral expenses were paid by friends and donations. Her legacy and literary genius re-emerged into the public thanks to Alice Walker, who wrote the Ms. Magazine article In Search of Zora Neale Hurston in 1975. Walker would go on to buy a headstone for Hurston and have it engraved with the words, "A Genius of the South."